Hello YouTube. I'm a former package handler with the United Parcel Service. I worked in a hub for 9 years. I want to tell you a little bit about my initial experiences there. I had to buy my own boots, my own cooler, my own water thermos, my own gloves, my own snacks, my own drinks. I had to buy WD-40 to use on my equipment so that the equipment would not seize up while I was trying to use it, because the company would not maintain the equipment that I was using, the equipment that was conveying their packages. I used to work with the metal racks in the outbound on the PDs. Anybody who's worked there knows what these areas are. The PDs are the areas where those big 18-wheelers connect with the outside wall on the warehouse buildings. And those racks would have wheels underneath them, and they would have to be pulled into the load. And they had metal casters that would slide that were used to connect the racks as they would unfold into the load when you pulled the racks out. The racks would start out on a load stand and they'd be stacked together. If you work at UPS, you'll have to buy your own equipment. You'll have to take care of the equipment yourself. You'll have to keep your work area clean yourself, because they will not do it. They don't sweep the trucks out. They don't sanitize the trucks if another driver pisses in them. Drivers sometimes piss in the trucks because they're running them so hard. They're making them work so much at such a high rate of speed, delivering and picking up packages, that they literally don't have time to stop and take a piss. There's a constant performance demand, and you are always being compared to other workers for their performance rather than be compared against yourself to show how you've improved. And if you are able to keep up in your work area, they'll just move you to a more difficult area, and they will greatly increase your workload. It was a toxic work environment. Supervisors, part-time supervisors would get cussed at, and full-time supervisors would be the ones that would be doing that most of the time. And the part-time supervisors would come into the work areas angry with the workers, and they would ream your ass in the worst sort of way, demanding that you pick it up, demanding that you do more work, demanding that you do the work of other workers, cussing at you, throwing things sometimes, coming into your work area and handling packages even though the union contract explicitly forbids it. It was the most abusive workplace that I've ever been in my entire life, and that's really saying something. You don't want to work there. The insurance will be taken away from you if they cut your hours to less than 15 hours a week, which does happen. Though in the slower parts of the year you get warning letters. The heat in the warehouse would make everyone extremely angry, especially the more obese supervisors, the men, and the loaders. Both supervisors and part-time workers would get very, very angry. And there would be incidents where the workers and the supervisors would throw things at each other and get close to hitting each other inside the warehouse. And they would literally be running and screaming at each other, and people would be having to jump between the workers and the supervisors to keep them from getting into a fist fight and killing each other. That's not an exaggeration. I worked in a warehouse in Stafford, Texas, in the Red River District, and we had very hostile and unprofessional management working there, and I worked under several of those supervisors. Their behavior was so offensive at times that they would literally have to move them to different hubs because other people, even their fellow supervisors and other part-time hourly workers like myself, could not tolerate the verbal abuse and the misbehavior that these individuals were engaging in. And human resources wouldn't do a damn thing about it. You would have to go to your full-time supervisor, and sometimes the full-time supervisor was the problem. They'd be stressed out, and they'd be tearing into everybody else's asses, and the supervisors would be looking for somebody who was a safe target to vent on. And I was one of those people that they would target. I was a great worker, and I was always picking up the slack for other people, going the extra mile, getting up on the belt and breaking jams in the slides and on the top belt and the outbound on the twilight shift. And if you get sick or you get hurt, they'll blame you and they'll fire you. I got sick, and they sent me a termination letter. My family became uninsured, and we ended up eventually losing our home. That was among the consequences that we suffered. UPS will throw you away as a worker after they do you wrong. They'll burn your health out and they'll leave you sick.